You ever look at a designer room in a magazine and just think, how do they do that? Well, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. It's not magic. It's a playbook. And today, we're going to crack it open and go through the simple, unbreakable rules that will help you create a home that looks absolutely stunning, no matter what your style is.
You know that feeling, right? You've arranged the furniture, you've hung the art, but something just feels off. The room isn't quite coming together. It's one of the most common frustrations out there. But don't worry, today we're going to figure out exactly what's missing and, more importantly, how to fix it.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We're breaking this down into 4 key parts. First, we'll cover the basics of setting the stage. Then, we'll get into the nitty-gritty with the rules of placement. After that, we'll have some fun with the art of the mix, and finally, I'm going to share a game-changing, savvy shopping secret.
All right, let's dive right into Section 1, setting the stage. Now, before you even think about moving a single chair, you have to get these big picture concepts right. Think of these as the anchors that hold the whole design of a room together. So, most of us have heard about having a focal point, that one thing like a big fireplace or a statement window that immediately draws your eye. But here's the thing, relying on just one can actually make the rest of your room feel kind of unbalanced, almost forgotten.
So here's the formula the pros use. You start with one main primary focal point for sure, but then you add 2 smaller secondary ones. What this does is it creates this sort of visual triangle that guides your eye around the space, making the entire room feel interesting and perfectly balanced.
Okay, so how do you create a space that feels really current but isn't going to look totally dated in a couple of years? Well, there's actually a pretty simple formula for it. It's called the 80-20 rule, and it's all about striking that perfect balance between longevity and personality.
Here's how it breaks down. 80% of your room and your budget should go towards timeless foundational pieces. We're talking the sofa, your dining table, things that are built to last. The other 20%, that's your playground. That's for the fun, trendy stuff. Throw pillows, paint colors, decor, all the things you can easily swap out when you're ready for a change.
And now for Section 2, the rules of placement. We're shifting from those big concepts to some very specific numbers. This is where a little bit of math meets design, and trust me, these precise measurements are what make a room feel comfortable and just right.
Here it is, the one number you absolutely need to memorize for your living room: 18 inches. This is the non-negotiable, perfect distance between your sofa and your coffee table.
So why 18 inches? It's just the magic sweet spot. It's close enough that you can easily lean over and grab your drink, but it leaves just enough room for you to walk by without, banging your shins. It's a small detail that makes a massive difference in how a room actually functions day to day.
Okay, let's talk about gallery walls for a minute. They are such a fantastic way to show off art and personality. But the real magic isn't just in what you hang. It's all about the space between the frames.
The number to remember here is 2 to 3 inches. Keeping a really consistent gap of this size between each and every frame is what transforms a random bunch of pictures into a cohesive, intentional, and professional-looking installation.
And you can see exactly why this matters so much. If the frames are too far apart, the whole thing feels disconnected and random. But if they're too close, it just looks cluttered and chaotic. That 2 to 3 inch sweet spot gives each piece of art its own room to breathe while keeping the whole collection feeling like one unified piece.
All right, now for the really fun part. We've got our foundation set, we've got our math down, so let's jump into the more artistic side of things. These are the rules for combining patterns, styles, and textures to create a space that feels truly dynamic and alive.
I know mixing patterns can feel really intimidating, but there is this super simple, foolproof recipe. You always start with a solid color to anchor everything. Then you layer in a geometric pattern, something with clean lines or shapes. And for that final touch, you add something organic, like a floral or an abstract print. This formula, it works every single time.
Now here's a powerful designer secret: juxtaposition. It sounds like a fancy word, but it just means putting opposites together. And when you place 2 contrasting things right next to each other, they don't clash. They actually create this incredible energy and make each other stand out even more.
For instance, think about finishes. If you have a lot of sleek, shiny surfaces in a room, you want to introduce something that's matte and natural, like some raw wood or a piece of unpolished stone. That contrast adds so much depth and keeps the space from feeling cold or one note. And the same idea applies to shapes. A room that's filled with only soft, rounded furniture can start to feel a little undefined. By bringing in some sharp, angular lines, like a square coffee table or a graphic rug, you create this amazing visual tension that gives the space structure.
And finally, you gotta mix old with new. A room filled with all antique pieces can feel a bit like a time capsule, right? But pairing a beautiful vintage find with a sleek, modern item, well, that's how you create a story. It gives the room a history and a soul.
Our last mixing rule is all about the sense of touch. If your room ever feels a little flat or boring, I can almost guarantee it's because it needs more texture. The rule of thumb is to always have at least 3 distinct textures in a space. So think soft lemon, shiny metal, and natural wood. That layering adds incredible depth.
And that brings us to our final section, a savvy shopping secret. This is a simple little habit that will help you break free from that generic, straight out of a catalog look and create a home that feels completely, uniquely you.
Here it is! It is so tempting to just buy the matching bedroom suite or the all-in-one bedding set. It's easy, but it is also the fastest way to get a generic, uninspired room. The real secret to a curated-looking home is this. If it comes as a set, your job is to break it up.
Just think about it. Take the pillow shams from your bedding set and use them on an armchair in the corner. Split up that 3-piece art collection and hang them in different rooms. Use the end tables from a living room set as nightstands. This one simple trick makes your design feel so much more thoughtful and intentional.
So there you have it, 8 essential rules for a picture-perfect home. From the 18-inch rule to the power of mixing old and new, these are the real secrets designers use to make a space feel just right. The only question left is, which one are you going to try first?